Live from Twitch.tv, it's Vtuber Talk. This week our guest is Cecilia Laruine. It's all about to begin on Vtuber Talk. Alrighty, well, I hope all this audio is working because I'm manipulating a lot of different channels and I'm still getting used to all this. Please bear with me. Hello everyone and welcome to Vtuber Talk. I'm your host Jay and thank you so much for joining us this evening. For those of you who aren't familiar with the show or here for our debut last week, Vtuber Talk is designed after classic late night talk shows. Everything here is live, as you can probably tell by my already stumbling, relatively casual, and the goal is simply to have fun conversations that will entertain people who are already familiar with our guests while it's still being accessible for new viewers. That's my fancy way of saying I think anyone can tune in and have a good time. While the show is run as a project of passion, donations are always welcome and always split 50-50 with the guest. As I mentioned, this is very much sort of a homage to late night talk shows, and one classic staple of late night talk shows is the opening monologue. That's what I'm doing right now, and I'm doing, I suppose, okay on it. That while I'm not the star of the show, one of my responsibilities as the host is to be something of an opening act for the guests, getting the audience warmed up. Opening monologues are usually speeches about current events or a topic of interest. BGM is too high. Thank you for letting me know. Let me turn that down. Oh dear. Well, thank you all very much. Hopefully this is better. Yes, thank you, Lane. Thank you very much. Are things better now? Raise my voice? Okay. Sure, I was worried after last week because I felt like I was too loud, so now I'm just trying to find the happy balance. Much better, good. Please do yell at me in the chat because last week I felt really bad that I messed up my audio levels. Lane sounded soft, I sounded loud, so do continue to give this feedback. It is so useful for me. Like, seriously, I do want to know if something like that is going wrong. Anyways, I'll give the condensed version so I don't just waste everyone's time. Welcome to Vtuber Talk. We have fun talks. I'm here to just have a good time. Cecilia is here to have a good time. And now I'm just overly rambly in what is normally the opening monologue of the show. Now, opening monologues can sometimes be, topics of interest, current events, some jokes, but sometimes they can be musical performances. And while I'm not a super talented singer, I did practice something that I think people will enjoy. So bear with me here while I once again mess with some audio levels once again and pull up something pretty special. Shout out to HOLO Beats and Amelia Watson. I hope you can hear this on your end because this is Pop on Rocks. Take it slowly, this book is dangerous. But how can a book be dangerous? But I mean, have you read Dr. Seuss? Ready? Knocks in box, fox in socks, knocks on fox in socks in box, socks on knocks and knocks in box, fox in socks on box on knocks. Chicks with bricks come, chicks with blocks come, chicks with bricks and blocks and clocks come. Let's do tricks with bricks and blocks, sir. Let's do tricks with chicks and clocks, sir. First I'll make a quick trick brick stack, then I'll make a quick trick block stack. You can make a quick trick chick stack, you can make a quick trick clock stack. And here's a new trick, Mr. Knox. Socks on chicks and chicks on fox. Fox on clocks on bricks and blocks on knocks on box. Now we come to ticks and talks, sir. Try to say this, Mr. Knox, sir. Clocks on fox, tick, clocks on fox, talk. Sick, sick, bricks, tick, sick, sick, chicks talk. Please, sir, I don't like this trick, sir. My tongue isn't quick or slick, sir. I got all these ticks and clocks are mixed up with the chicks and talks. I can't do it, Mr. Fox, sir. I'm so sorry, Mr. Knox, sir. Here's an easy game to play. Here's an easy thing to say. New socks, two socks. Whose socks? Sue socks. Who sews? Whose socks? Sue sews. Sue socks, naturally. Who sees who Sue whose new socks, sir? That's not easy, Mr. Fox, sir. Who comes? Crow comes. Slow Joe Crow comes. Who sews? Crow's clothes? Sue sews crow's clothes. She's very nice like that. Sue sews socks of fox in socks now. Slow Joe Crow sews knocks in box now. How does Slow Joe Crow sew a box? Don't worry about it. Knocks in box, fox in socks. Knocks on fox in socks in box. Socks on knocks and knocks in box. Fox in socks on box on knocks. Chicks with bricks come, chicks with blocks come. Chicks with bricks and blocks and clocks come. Let's do tricks with bricks and blocks, sir. Let's do tricks with chicks and clocks, sir. Okay, well, hopefully the audio levels were working for that. Otherwise, this is just going to be super awkward. But anyways, let's get on with the show. Please welcome my guest tonight, the possessed doll VTuber, Miss Cecilia Laruine. Yay! Hopefully this is working. Give me a minute to make sure that we have everything. Cecilia, are you there? Uh-oh. One sec.
Hello?
Oh, wait, okay. Testing 1, 2. Alrighty. Audience, can you hear Cecilia?
On my end.
Alright, and hopefully the background music is good. Raise her up just a bit. Okay. Raising her up just a bit. And I'm also gonna tick the music down just a pinch.
Hi, neighbors.
Alright, how about this? Live audio engineering. Yay, testing 1, 2. Cecilia, let the wonderful people hear you. Cecilia? Oh no. One moment. Cecilia, can you hear me? Oh, I'm dumb. I was muted on Discord. Like I said, this is live, people. All right.
Hi!
Okay, well, at the very least, I wasn't muted this whole time for the live folks, so Pop on Rock still went all right, thank goodness. I would have kicked myself if that had, that was one of my better times going through that, so I'm glad it was actually heard and live.
It was really good.
Alrighty. So, hopefully now everything is good for the audience.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Hi, neighbors. Can you hear both of us all right?
Yes, all right, wonderful. Well, thank you all for
Good,
bearing
good.
with us as we do that little bit of audio engineering. So, Cecilia, thank you so much for being here this evening. I'm sure there are a number of people in the audience tonight who are already familiar with you, but for those who aren't, please introduce yourself. Let us know a bit about you. That can be your lore, what type of content you do, anything that you think is important when meeting Cecilia Laruine. And I hope I'm still pronouncing that right.
You seem like you're pronouncing it all right. So, hi, neighbors. My name is Cecilia Laruine, and I am a possessed doll VTuber. If you watched the last week's show, Lane's a ball-jointed doll. I'm also a ball-jointed doll. However, I am literally 100% dead inside.
That's
So
slightly
the type of-
terrifying, but...
That's okay. The type of content I make is, I like to play a lot of simulation and RPG games, and I like to animate a lot. Yeah!
Awesome. And your mama is, once again, hoping I'm pronouncing it right, Iberine?
Yep, Ibrian's correct.
Awesome. And you were telling me earlier that your papa is your owner who is also your landlord?
Yep, that's my landlord. My landlord made my body.
Nice. And so your model, well, first off, it's adorable, it's gorgeous, and
Thank you.
very expressive. I'm very curious, what types of flowers are in your hair?
Okay, so, we have here, chrysanthemums, that's the green and the yellow ones. We have some roses, they're pink and white. And also some carnations, I think they're carnations. And coincidentally, they're all flowers used in funerals. Yay!
Okay, wow. Like I said, this is live. I did not ask that question beforehand. I didn't tell her I was going to ask that question. I never made that connection. Even as you were listing out those flowers, that's adorable, really thoughtful, and once again, slightly terrifying.
Good! Thank you.
But I love that type of detail, just to really bring everything together. And you wear them all very, very well. So, when was your debut?
My debut was the end of November.
Okay, so you've been at this for a while now, because obviously the VTuber community has been booming for a while. And while it may seem weird to say that since November has been a long time, that actually in relativity has been a while. So what was it like for your first debut? Was there anything particularly memorable in that stream, scuffed like mine, or did you have everything really locked up?
Well, my debut actually went really smoothly. My mother, though, Iberine, she couldn't make it to the debut, but she did write me a letter. She said I was allowed to recite it during my debut. And if I could say a few lines.
Please.
From the letter.
Please.
So the letter, it went something like, "Hi, Berine. This is Iberine. Cecilia asked me to watch her live Berine, but I deny Berine, and so Cecilia cyberined."
I like Iberine already.
Yes. "My dear Cecilia, I wish you the best and hope you have a good debut. Bye, Berine."
So much respect
So,
when someone leans into
like
the puns like that.
Yes.
Do you remember what you played or did on your debut stream?
Yeah, well, I went through my lore and everything like usual, and at the end I played Bang Dream. It's a mobile game that I like to play a lot.
Yeah, you mentioned to me earlier actually that rhythm games, Bang Dream and Love Live in particular, are two that you really enjoy.
Yes.
Did your love of rhythm games start with those two, or did you grow up doing things like, DDR, I don't know, Donkey Konga, Parappa the Rapper, or what is, I suppose, your personal history with rhythm games?
Well, I guess it all started with DDR. Like, this body that I have right now is actually pretty recent, so to help practice my dexterity and, I suppose, motor controls, I played DDR for a bit, because that really helps your hand-eye coordination, or foot-eye coordination.
Something like that.
And yeah, and from there, I just played a bunch of mobile rhythm games, such as Demo, and I love Lanota, because they help with hand-eye coordination.
When it
and
comes
helps train helps train my doll body to move and everything.
So, when it comes to Bang Dream and Love Live, do you have any particular favorite characters, or do you just love them all?
Okay, I say that I love them all, but the truth is, in Love Live in particular, there's this one character named Hanayo, which I love a lot. She's really sweet, and I relate to her a lot. And, well, let's just say I spend a lot of time, effort, and money on her. Actually, I recently streamed, it was her birthday recently on the 17th, and I streamed a scouting video, and that was fun.
Gosh, it's been so long since I've seen Love Live.
No worries.
Which one is Hanayo? Please remind me, because I saw the series a while ago, and I saw it when I was in my last semester of college, and at the time I was very heavily involved with a musical group on campus, so the latter half of season 2 hit me like a truck.
Hanayo, she's a part of Muse, which is the first Love Live group, and she likes rice a lot. I don't know if that rings any bells, but...
she's the one that's light green.
Yeah!
Much like
that's
you.
the one.
Now,
Yeah.
was Hanayo's association with light green any of the inspiration for your color palette being based in green, or were they just unrelated there?
I think it's related, but not the way you think. I've always liked green, and I've always liked flowers and plants and stuff. Even before my death, I knew, I love flowers and plants. And Hanayo has flower in the name. He's green, and I don't know.
So
that
maybe
combined with her
rather
personality.
maybe rather than it being your love for Hanayo that led to your personal color palette being green, that you already had the predisposition towards flowers and green, which led you to Hanayo in the first place.
Yep, that sounds about right.
I played the Love Live School Idol Festival game for a little bit, wasn't able to keep up, but like I said, big fan of the Love Live franchise as a whole, and I know that the show really, I think, can be pointed to as the catalyst for the more modern idol anime genre that we now have. That obviously idol shows had been done before Love Live, but
Right.
I feel like that's what really popularized it, at least here in the West.
Yeah, probably. Maybe? I know for sure the anime and the mobile game are really popular here.
Yeah. And I suppose, in a way, VTubers really are sort of the next evolution of idols as a whole.
Yeah, it's just anime, but a little more real, and I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you do a lot of different types of streams. That most recently you actually did the scouting one where you got Hanayo for her birthday.
Yes.
What other ones have you been doing more recently? Has it been mostly Love Live, or have there been other ones that particularly come to mind in your more recent rotation?
Well, I haven't been playing rhythm games that much, but I have been playing a lot of Skyrim and a
Those
few
are two
indie
very
games.
different things.
Yeah. I really do like RPG and simulation games, because to me it's almost like playing pretend when you're a kid, but it's like virtual, and I think it's really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Is the Elder Scrolls series one that you've really enjoyed for a while, or was Skyrim your first in it?
Skyrim's my first Elder Scrolls, but recently I've gotten really into Oblivion, and that one's very fun as well.
Yeah.
I'd like to play Morrowind sometime, maybe after I complete Oblivion.
Yeah, and I know Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out, and
Yeah.
they have the new ones all queued up. That E3 last year was very exciting to see for that, so looking forward to it for sure.
Me too.
Now, if RPG and simulation games are a genre that you've really enjoyed for a while, but the Elder Scroll ones are more recent for you, what types of simulation and RPG games did you grow up playing? What really, I suppose, established your love for that genre?
I know they're different, but I've played a lot of JRPGs like Pokemon. I really love Pokemon. It's a lot of fun, nostalgic.
For sure, yeah. No, I've played Pokemon since Gen 1. Never gotten to the competitive side or like the EV training stuff, but I was around for, Pokemania 1.0. Do you have a favorite Pokemon, or at this point with, I think we're at 900 odd, that it's a difficult choice?
I've always loved Eevee. Actually, I have an Eevee plush, like right here next to me. I've been.
Eevee is just wonderful, and Eevee really has been having its day in the sun with Let's Go from just Pikachu and
Yeah.
Eevee. I remember seeing a meme that had someone in the giant, Eevee suit saying, "Mom said it's my turn to be the franchise mascot."
Yeah, I'm glad Eevee's getting like really popular. A lot of merch and stuff.
Do you have a favorite evolution, or is just, classic, basic Eevee really where it is for you?
I just love classic Eevee because it's just so cute and
Hey,
it
nothing
has
wrong
like
with
a lot
that.
of potential in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's great.
Yeah, it's simple, fluffy, cute. It's certainly a classic. I honestly don't know what my favorite would be. Maybe Jolteon. I think it's got a really cool design, but then there's also Umbreon and Espeon. They're all just really neat and very different in their own ways, and that's, at least for a while, was something that I know everyone really in the community looked forward to, of what's the evolution for this generation. They didn't have a new one this time around for Sword and Shield, because admittedly they've hit a lot of the different types, and they couldn't keep it up forever, but yeah, Eevee is definitely a special one. I'd say probably my favorite Pokemon, I've always loved Metagross.
It's so cool.
I've played since Gen 1, but when I saw just a giant supercomputer tank, and the typing of Psychic and Steel I think is so cool. It has a lot of resistances. I've really enjoyed Metagross in that whole evolution line ever since Gen 3.
Metagross is definitely my favorites as well. It's really cool.
Now, apart from simulation, you've done rhythm games, you've done RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do know that you've also been working on some fighting games.
Yes. So, I am an animator for Idol Showdown and HOLO Fighters, which are both HoloLive fan fighting games. Idol Showdown's the 2D one, so pixel, and HOLO Fighters is a 3D fighting game. Yeah.
And I actually have, I'm going to be putting it up on stream right now. You did a awesome animation of Fubuki doing kneeling tail swipe strike. So this one, making sure I'm not confusing, this one is for HOLO Fighters? Or no, Idol Showdown. Idol Showdown.
That's the 2D one.
So for this one, obviously, you did the animation. Are you the one that has done all of the pixel models from the ground up, or do you get provided the model by a different artist and then do the animation?
So how it usually works, one of the animators sort of animates a skeleton of the keyframes, and then a sprite artist sort of fills them in and stuff, and of course there's cleanup and everything. This particular Fubuki one, I did it myself, so I did the entire keyframe and filling in part of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's very clean. I saw that on your Twitter feed a week or two ago, even before I actually invited you to be on the show. I was like, that's really neat.
Thank you.
So do you play fighting games a lot, or did you get involved with the project more so because, it is HoloLive and it's animation, which is something I know you're very passionate about?
It's a bit of both. I was never I'm not really into fighting games that much, but I do enjoy, Smash Bros, Skullgirls, Hisoten's a big one that I really like.
I'll admit I'm not familiar with Hisoten.
Oh, that one is sort of a Toho fighting game. Pixel one. It's a little older, but it's still pretty fun.
Yuki Ando in the chat definitely knows Hisoten.
Yeah! Yes, we have to fight sometime. I'll be looking forward to it.
So, I didn't actually ask too much about HOLO Fighters or Idol Showdown beforehand, so I don't actually know too much about them. Can you tell me a bit about the productions and the teams behind them? I know that both are in relatively early stages of development, so I know we can't get, particular details beyond a certain point. But are you able to talk a bit about, the people behind it and just how the projects came about, I suppose?
I don't know if I could talk that much about it, but what I can say is that the two projects are very friendly with each other, of course. Both projects have artists and programmers like shared between both projects,
Oh, neat.
and it's very much a collaborative effort, which is nice. And we're all just fans who want to make this fighting game come to life,
Yeah.
and I think that's great.
Are you able to say any other characters that you've worked on so far, or is Fubuki the one and only that's public right now?
Fubuki, yeah, I've worked on Fubuki. Right now we're working on Korone and Suisei. I'm on the Suisei team. The others are not 100% confirmed. But for Idol Showdown, by the way, for Hollow Fighters, working on Hachama animations, which is kind of fun. It's a little hard though because I'm trying to copy the style of her sort of choppy, erratic movements, but it's a learning experience and it's really fun.
So for animation, obviously these are two very different styles, at 2D pixel versus 3D. So you obviously have a background in animation. Is there any sort of story behind what really got you into animating, or at the very least what first piqued your interest? Was there any moment where you're like, that's something I want to do?
Well, as a doll, I don't know, I feel a sort of connection between being a doll and animations, because animating, especially in 3D animating, it's basically playing with 3D like virtual dolls. It's just playing with dolls, but with zeros and ones. And you can make them do whatever you want. You can make families, like make them talk, make them like parkour off a desk and like flip around a bunch when you were a kid.
Yeah, I never
always
actually
liked animation.
I never actually thought about the parallel there of being a doll and doing animation, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
So,
one thing that really made me love animation a lot. So I love video games, and what I like most of all is video game cutscenes. I just love seeing characters come to life in a game, and I know that's definitely something I really want to do in the future. I want to help characters come to life.
So, did you get involved with these two projects because you knew someone that was already on it? Did you approach them? What was sort of that crossover point for you and the rest of the team?
Well, one of the devs posted on, I think it was r/hololive, or was it r/v virtual YouTubers? There was a post on Reddit asking for, hey, we're making a Hololive like fighting game. Oh, I like Hololive. I like working on games. Join. And yeah.
The rest is history. Sometimes it's just that simple.
Yep.
Well, I'm very glad that you agreed to that, and certainly glad that you agreed to be here tonight. That you definitely seem to be the outgoing personality, but I suppose it wouldn't be fair to say that is a prerequisite to being a VTuber, but anyone who is a VTuber definitely has to have a level of self-confidence of being able to put themselves out there. That I know a lot of people say they're shy, and obviously it's fine to be shy, it's fine to be nervous when you're going on stage or streaming, but and anyone who does what you do still has to have that sort of baseline confidence. I suppose as I stumble over my own words here as the host, oh dear. What would you say
No worries.
Really sort of was the entry point, I suppose, to you for VTubing? Actually, I'll rephrase that and go a bit smaller. Who was the first VTuber that you saw?
Well, I guess that would be Kizuna Ai. She's definitely the first one I saw. Definitely inspirational. It's just really novel, new thing.
Now, did you see her a while back or more recently? Because obviously, Kizuna Ai has been around for, I think she has her 6th anniversary, possibly 7th.
Wow.
sometime this year. Did you see her, way back when she was first getting started, or did she really grab your attention sometime last year as VTubing as a whole started to really take off?
Well, the memories in this body is a little hazy, but
Very fair.
it's definitely sometime after I met my landlord, I think. Yeah.
So, apart from Kizune, is there anyone in the community, whether it be, a big name VTuber or someone smaller and aspiring, that you would say is a particular inspiration for you or has been impactful in your journey as a VTuber?
Well, recently there was like a huge boom in VTubers in the English-speaking world. I think that's also thanks to HoloLive EN, definitely.
It's definitely what got me in.
Yeah, there are a lot of that I follow, artists such as, let's see, I guess Meriwether the comics person. There's Rosuri. There's, what's her name? Savi-chan. And I guess Lily Pichu. Like all these artists and content creators, like suddenly, they have like a VTuber side. And I thought, wow, I could do that too. So, yeah, they've been inspirations to me for the whole VTubing thing because of their art. And it sort of led to me being inspired to be a VTuber. I thought, wow, I could do that too.
That's fantastic. Hopping back to animation for a little bit, you mentioned to me a little bit before we went live that animation as a whole is something that you're just very passionate about. As someone who is not particularly well-versed in animation, that in my day job I work with animators, so I see bits and pieces of the work that goes in, but obviously not nearly enough to have anything that would resemble a technical grasp of it. I want you to geek out on me right now with animation. Like, what do you love about it? What drives you nuts? What types of programs do you work with? Even if it's something that I won't entirely understand, I want to see you really get excited right now.
All right, so animation. Oh man, where do I begin? I guess we could go back to like the old cartoons. Like that's where animation like really started to take off. That's when like, people started like taking it serious. And the medium is like really, I guess, free. Whatever you want. You can like make cartoons out of it, like for children, make like stuff for more mature audiences. You can make animation be so realistic, or you can make it like as like cartoony as you want, and it's great. I'm really interested in game animation, and like especially for cutscenes, I love seeing characters like you see them in game, they run, they jump, they shoot, whatever. But during the cutscenes, you can see all their emotions, you can see their face, see them move like humans move. And technology is like amazing, and that, as go on, like cutscene animation is getting more and more like recognizable from indistinguishable rather from normal game animation, and I think that's wonderful. It's a wonderful time to be in.
They're definitely really pushing that limits. And also thank you GenderPP01 for the follow. You finally triggered it. I've set all of my alerts tonight to be this delightful little head pat gif that Cecilia provided for me. So follow along if you want to see more of that. I actually realized it was underneath the layer with the Fubuki swipe, so it was only visible for a moment, but it's there.
It's there.
So, goodness, now I've gone and lost my train of thought.
Cecilia. No worries,
So
I can keep
game
going.
animation, it really coming up to par with the rest of the game's presentation. Oh yes, there was an anime that aired last year called "Keep Your Hands Off Azakin." Did you see that by any chance?
Keep your hands off. I don't think so. I haven't been watching a lot of anime recently, actually.
All right, well, so Keep Your Hands Off Azakin was a fantastic series that aired about a year ago. It was last winter, and it's about three girls who create an anime club at their school, and it shows them really going through the animation process, discusses just, the concepts of keyframing, different things that can be done to optimize. They have a whole scene where they talk about, all right, if you want to cut down on work a bit, you can show people talking from behind. That way you don't need to worry about animating lip flaps. And they get very meta in it all. And they do this as the animation for the show itself is showing them talking from the back, so they're not having to animate lip flaps. And just, it's a delightful show altogether. So definitely recommend that. And especially for you as someone who is invested in animation as you are, I think you would definitely enjoy it. It's Keep Your Hands Off Azakin, Eizouken, which essentially means Film Society in Japanese. For some reason, they localized the rest of the title, but not the word Azakin.
Huh. Well, I'll definitely be watching that. Sounds really interesting.
So, is there a series, whether it be, an animated series or a game franchise, that one day you hope to be able to do animation for?
Oh man, that's such a big question. I don't know.
You can mention multiple.
Low-key, I kind of want to work on the Hitman series. That series is... it's less animation and more mocap with cleanup, but I've always liked that series. There's also, I guess, simulation games like The Sims. A lot of animations in that, and a lot of things to think about, like you're interacting with the sim. Is it a child sim or like adult sim? How are you going to animate that? Just so much to think about.
I suppose Sims are the ultimate in virtual dolls.
Yes, exactly. Oh man, so many games.
Do you find yourself, when you're playing games nowadays, sort of almost unconsciously thinking about animations? Like when you're playing, Sword and Shield, and you're watching Pokemon either do their idols or during combat, do you find yourself thinking, okay, that was actually a really difficult thing to animate that they did right there, or, oh, I think I know what technique they used to do that?
Yeah, actually, the Hitman games, I like to watch Mr. 47's animations a lot. Like, the transition from, like, going up a pipe or going down the pipe, or, like, vaulting over a fence, and also pulling out his gun. A whole bunch of layers of animation to think about, especially with the amount of tools he has. MOBA games, like Overwatch, has a lot of great animations. There's, of course, the play the game animations, where they show off like how great they look, and also the gameplay animations, like shooting and using all your abilities, of like running, jumping, and everything like that. That's just really interesting to me.
Yeah, so I guess you've mentioned the running and jumping, you mentioned the vaulting in Hitman, so I guess the movement and motions are a particular area of attention for you, it seems, of just those types of big sort of bold things, because you haven't mentioned walking as much here, but like using the word vaulting, that's a very specific thing in terms of just what type of motion it is. Do you find yourself, I suppose, honing in on those types of things because I suppose they by nature are more grandiose actions, or is there something about the movement that you find particularly, beautiful to the eye? Is there something behind that?
Well, obviously, as they're more grandiose, you have a lot more options in how you want to animate things. There's like the arcs of going over something, and I love the what's it called? Overlapping action. Like say you jump over something and your coat like flutters behind you. That's really pretty to look at. It's simple, but it's pretty. I also, in general, I just like to animate, like, I don't know, people doing parkour. It's fun. I like making people, like, the virtual doll model things, run and jump, hang on to things, and you can give them a lot of character doing that. For example, you can, like, make them trip and, like, try to catch themselves, or do a backflip while they're jumping off something. And there's just a lot of freedom you could have in making characters do all those wonderful motions, I guess.
Is there a piece of animation that you've done, even if it's not one that's, readily publicly available, or even something that you've worked on a recent project that you don't need to give specifics of, like, what character, but is there a particular sequence, I suppose, that you are particularly proud of, or that when you finished it, that you sort of sat back and were like, whoa, I did that?
Yes. One time I animated a girl playing piano, and it's very complicated to do because not only do you have to watch the fingers and make them timed to the music, you have to also make the piano keys timed to the music, because animation is not just animation, it's also, object animation as well.
The environment,
So
yeah.
I had to, I had to rig a piano for that.
Oh dear, that's 88
fun.
keys of rigging.
Well, since I knew the song that was gonna play, I knew knew the keys that was gonna be pressed. So
okay,
I was like, okay, I didn't have to rig like
all
50
88
keys. It's fine. Yeah, yeah, and there's just a lot that goes into something simple like playing piano. Part of the animation was that she would bow and then sit on the piano. But she was holding paper sheets, like sheet music.
Yeah, okay, so this is a full, concert, just going through the entrance, the bowing, that this isn't just, lights up and they're at a piano. You made a full scene of this.
Yeah, I did. And I remember it was 3 sheets of music. I rigged them so that they would fold a bit, so that they wouldn't be like so stiff and straight. But that caused problems because so the sheets of paper were connected to the hand, but I had to for that connection to the piano so that they would stay on the piano and not go to her hands. And it just created a lot of issues with clipping because the papers were also moving. It's just a lot of fun to animate that.
Well, for what it's worth, I can definitely tell you it's realistic, because if you're putting music on a piano, depending on what you have for the stand, some musicians will crease their music that way it doesn't, slide off of the stand for it. So that crease actually could end up being sort of a personal detail. Do you actually remember what the music was?
The music, it was something I composed actually, just for the animation.
You're a composer too? Jeez!
Yeah! I make music, well, kind of. Actually, for my debut, I made the music for that. Though it's kind of incredibly scuffed, but it kind of works out. Debut, I guess.
Oh, I asked you a couple days ago if you had your own music, because the music that we have in the background right now is one from Dova Syndrome, since you had mentioned that your own background music wasn't where you wanted it to be. But I didn't realize that you yourself had written it.
Oh, yeah, I did write it. That's why it's not where I want to be, because, of course, when you're making music or art, you're like your worst enemy when you're creating.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh gosh, so animating and music. all this. So, do you play any instruments, or do you? Oh, now I suppose since you've been a doll, that probably would be difficult if it was any sort of wind instrument. What instruments have you played, whether it be now or before you were a doll?
You'd be right that it'd be really hard to play a wind instrument, which is why I play piano, and that's also to help with my dexterity.
Makes sense.
Piano.
Training up the
Yep.
joints.
Yep.
So you mentioned that you had composed your own music. Have you composed any pieces for other projects that you've worked on, or when it comes to things like that, have you mostly been in the realm of animation?
Mostly in animation, and I guess mostly for like my own animations. Like if I was too lazy to score my own music, though, obviously I'd find music on the internet. But especially for the piano one, during the animation, I wanted to make her accidentally miss a note and animate her like freaking out and animating her face to do that. So I had to compose my own so that the music would purposefully miss a note.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I played trombone for goodness how many years? I don't know, many years, 12, 15-ish years, so I am all too familiar with that just sort of visceral reaction of, oh gosh, I know I just played a sour note.
Yeah. Actually, just a fun fact about my landlord. My landlord used to play trombone, but they stopped because they couldn't reach the 6th and 7th positions. Their arms are too short.
Oh no! Have they tried an F attachment trombone?
I don't think they have.
It's called an F attachment. Some people call it a trigger trombone. Basically, it's this small switch right where your thumb is that changes. Basically, there's a couple of extra pipes in the part that goes on your shoulder or behind you. And what it does is it essentially acts as a valve, so it switches things around and makes it so you can play notes from different positions, since the whole thing behind trombone making its notes is how far the air has to travel from the mouthpiece to the bell. So what the trigger in this case does is it adds some length to the tubes without you having to actually stretch out to 6th and 7th positions. So like if you're in first position and play with the embouchure, that would normally give you a B flat. If you push the trigger, you'll get a C, which is normally in 6th position all the way down there. So I don't know if your landlord is still interested in potentially picking up trombone again at some point, but if they ever do, suggest to them looking into, like I said, it's called an F attachment, is generally what most music shops would have it listed as, but if you say a trigger trombone, they'll know what you mean.
I see. That's pretty neat. I'll let my landlord know, though I think they ended up playing the Euphonium instead.
Ooh,
because
there
that's
you
a little
go.
bit more compact, but still a similar sound.
Yes, yeah, that same low brass sound and embouchure that for anyone who might be unfamiliar, this is me getting on my little band nerd thing. Basically, a euphonium is think a miniature tuba. So it's something that so there's a euphonium and a baritone. They're generally considered to be synonymous. A euphonium is one that you hold in front of you like a tuba. A baritone is one that is used for marching and is held similarly to a trumpet.
By the way, a tuba in this case is not a round tuba that goes around your body. It's kind of like an upright brass instrument.
Yeah, the wraparound one is called a sousaphone.
Sousaphones are fun.
Yes.
Looking.
Yeah, many good memories of marching bands, and just since I was a trombone, that meant that I was always near the euphoniums and the sousaphones, so lots of fun sounds there, because when you get 20 low brass players on one instrument and then 20 low brass players on another instrument and then a dozen sousaphones blaring in the end zone of a football stadium, people will hear you.
People will feel you.
Yes.
In their body, in their chest.
Yeah. I know that pianos obviously can't do marching, but there were, not in the bands that I was in, but you would generally see pianists taking up either bells or xylophone to do sideline percussion for that.
Percussion!
But anyways, that's enough of me getting on my band tangent.
No worries, no worries.
So, transitioning into a couple quirky questions that I like to ask my guests. If you were to put yourself on a traditional Dungeons & Dragons alignment chart, so lawful, neutral, chaotic, good, neutral, evil, where would you place yourself?
I say that I would be in neutral good, but the way I play Skyrim, I think I would be more chaotic good.
Oh.
Are
there any stories to go with this?
I just have a habit of dumping bodies into the river so that they don't get seen by the guards, or quick saving. As you do, or quick saving before I Fusroda, or like bop someone on the head and then reloading after. Also, while people are talking, like during the beginning of the game, Jarl, and he talks a lot about dragons or something, I just like to walk on his table and knock all the silver plates and cups off his table.
Okay, yep. Chaotic checks out.
Yeah.
Gosh. Do you have a favorite emoji? So that could be a generic smiley or a content creator specific emoji from a subscription or something like that. Is there one that whenever you're just doing a happy reaction, do you have sort of your go-to?
I love just a normal smiley face when I'm like doing a happy emoji. Not much of an emoji, but I like to make sort of a person with their arms like outstretched, going yay. As for emojis that I really like, I love all the flower emojis. They're really pretty. And when I saw the bouquet, I thought, wow, that's like all the flowers. And so the bouquet is probably my favorite emoji.
Well, I do know that for your Twitter account, that in your just header name, you do have the bouquet emoji, so makes sense.
Yep.
Do you actually raise flowers yourself, or has gardening in any way been something that you've ever attempted as a hobby?
Not really. I just like them.
That's fair. I like to admire flowers from afar because I am allergic.
Oh no!
Seasonal allergies are the worst. Just the worst.
That sounds like the worst.
Do you have
Actually,
any...
I think I attempted gardening once, but all the dirt and stuff would get inside my joints and like inside my body, and that wasn't very pleasant.
No.
I just like to look at them. They're nice.
Yes. Do you have any particular goals for 2021 that it's weird to think that we're almost done with January already, but it's still early on enough in the year that do you have, something, it could be specific or more generic and broad that you want to be able to do, whether it be in VTubing or any of your animation projects?
Well, for animation in particular, to make a demo reel, which is just a 1-minute collection of a bunch of animations I've done, show sort of as a display of skill in a way. My current goal is to make one every 3 months, so that would be like 4 a year, and that way I could see my progress like throughout the months, and yeah. I have another goal, So, as some of you may or may not know, I do live with my landlord. But I love my landlord. I would like to move out one day. Um, I asked my landlord about it, and they're like, "Well, you're a VTuber. You could have a V house." And I'm like, "Wow, you're right." Um, so in addition to my animation streams, I'd like to start modeling streams. So 3D modeling. My goal is to make a house for myself, a house in the middle of a field of flowers. That's the goal.
Oh, wow. Oh, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah!
Do you have a particular program that you work with, or does it vary by project?
For animation and modeling, I love Autodesk Maya. It crashes on me sometimes, but still love it. For HOLO Fighters, it's the 3D live fighting fan game. I'm working with Miku Miku Dance, and it's a little bit challenging because I haven't used it before, but it's a fun challenge. For modeling, for hard surface modeling, I like to use Maya, so making things like furniture or, I don't know, buildings and stuff. But for modeling faces, I like to use Blender, because Blender has a sort of sculpting mode, I believe.
Yeah, I dabbled in Blender some, oh gosh, was this like 7 years ago now? It was part of a elective in college that I learned just a tiny bit of Blender, and learned pretty quickly that I was not terribly good at it. I'm definitely the more organizational producer type, not the artist type, and that just, gives me all the more respect for people who can do it, because, I know how difficult it is, and I know full well, if I were to put in the time and effort required, maybe I could do it, but it's definitely not something that I am predisposed to.
Yeah, Blender, well, animation modeling in general, it's a huge steep learning curve, but once you get there, it's fun. I also like to, I guess I used to do animation in Blender as well until I moved to Maya. Yeah, good times.
Do you have any sort of mental blueprint for your house, or is that something that you haven't really explored yet and you're planning on doing that more live on stream?
I'm planning to do that live on stream. All I know is that I want my house to be in the middle of a field of flowers.
Very on brand.
I know it's kind of a big goal, but it'd be nice if I could sort of make my own neighborhood house, but other houses like around the neighborhood as well. So for all my neighbors on stream.
Yeah, make a nice broadcast studio for me, please.
I'll think about it.
No, I like I said, I know how much work that is. Like, I'm if there's a billboard of Vtuber Talk somewhere, I'd be over the moon. I wouldn't dare ask for an actual, building. Daigonski in the chat says, is it worth switching from an i5 9400F to an i7 9700, only for that it reaches me and my i5 no longer pulls me to stream? Is that an animation thing that I'm not getting?
I don't know what that means.
All right, sorry, because it's Daigonski art in the chat. If it's an animation question, might need to rephrase it, and we'll see if we can answer it, or more properly, if Cecilia can answer it, because I'm useless.
I have no idea what that means. I'm sorry.
Do you have any particular favorite amongst those programs? Because I'm sure that to a degree there's similarity in the UI, that once something sort of goes industry standard, there's an amount of just transferable experience from one program to another, but obviously they're not always going to be one-to-one. Do you have a particular program that you find just easiest to work with, or when a project is in that you're like, oh yes, I know I can do more with this than anything else?
Definitely for me, because of course it's industry standard, so like say I need to buy a model and too lazy to model it, chances are it'll be in like FBX or MA file format, which can easily go into Maya. And I set up Blender. Blender has a setting where you could use the same shortcuts and it binds as Maya. So I set it that way because it's just easier for me. Maya also has a little bit of Python programming. So if you're doing something a lot, like repetition, like say you need to make, I don't know, 1,000 cubes in like certain positions for whatever reason, you could easily script that within Maya and have it run. And you got 1,000 cubes in the perfect locations, and it's great.
That way you don't need to go Control-C, Control-V, V, 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 V.
Yeah.
I've worked with enough people that do animation to have a basic comprehension of all this, but it's always cool to hear animators talking animation, even if it's not completely Greek to me, but there's jargon that I can mostly understand. I'm glad I can mostly understand it because it's clear that you have just a lot of experience and a lot of passion for it as a whole.
Yeah.
Getting potentially a little bit sentimental, a little bit emotional. Obviously, this is something that will vary from person to person, from VTuber to VTuber, but what does being a VTuber mean to you?
Well, I didn't really go that much into my lore, but I think now would be a good time to do that. So, this current body that you see here, this wasn't my original body. I used to be like a much smaller doll. A smaller doll. I don't even know where. My memories are a bit fuzzy. It's someplace abandoned. It was my spirit possessed the doll, and I became a really small doll. My hands couldn't move because they were like molded together. I didn't have very articulate hands like I do now. But anyway, a bunch of people would visit the abandoned wherever it was, and they would scream, hate me. Obviously, I guess I'd scream too if I saw like very mossy algae, like broken doll, like saying "Hi, neighbor" to their face. But it made me kind of sad. Being a VTuber is sort of a way for me to make people happy again, because that's what dolls do. People scream. I mean, I guess unless they're haunted. Dolls usually make people happy. You know? So I guess that's what being a VTuber means for me. It's just a way to make people happy again. Make people smile.
That's fantastic, and hopefully, like, I get the feeling that you were among those people that nobody puts in the work to become a VTuber if they themselves aren't having at least as much fun as their fans. What would you say, was there like a first moment in one of your streams where it sort of hit you of like, I'm doing this, or that maybe it was after the stream ended that you were like, whoa, have you ever had, I suppose, a moment, for lack of a better term?
Definitely at the end of my debut stream. After it finished, I realized, wow, nobody screamed in chat. Nobody's scared of me. This is awesome.
They like me. They really like me.
Yeah! They like me for who I am and what I do, and that's great.
Now, one thing that I always try to ask guests is there something that people don't know about you, that even if someone has tuned into all of your streams before, that what is something new, exciting, and exclusive for people to learn today about Cecilia Laruine? Could be anything as simple as, I take my coffee with 2 sugars and nothing else will do. What is something that people don't know about you yet?
I can choose one, so I have 2 things that people might not know about me.
Hey, 2's fine.
Yeah. Whenever I cough or sneeze or yawn, that's not actually me doing those things. Dolls don't really do that. What that actually is, like when I sneeze or something, that's actually my spirit trying to escape. Don't worry, it stays where it is.
That is the origin of bless you, supposedly, isn't it?
Yes. The second thing people might not know about me. So, you know how my hair is like all lovely and green? In my original body, like the really small doll, that body was really dirty, lots of moss and algae and stuff like growing on me. Gross. It made my hair kind of greenish. So when my landlord made my new body, originally I had like the sort of gray brown hair like throughout. But at that point I sort of got used to the green in my hair, so I asked my landlord, "Hey landlord, can you add green streaks in my hair?" And my landlord was like, "Yeah, sure." And so that's why I have green in my hair.
So it's, I suppose, sort of an homage to your previous body, that just
Yep.
Coming from where you were in that abandoned place covered in moss, that you've gone past that, but also taken everything that you learned and experienced back then and made it part of you in your own positive way.
Yep.
That's just awesome.
That's how it was. Yay!
Do you have any other outfits, or do you have other outfits that you hope to be able to get down the line?
Well, this is my favorite dress, but for those that don't know, I do like to change my flowers for each stream, depending on what I'm streaming. For example, in Skyrim, I wear Nightshade, because that's important in the Dark Brotherhood. Yay! What else? Yeah, I just like to change my flowers every stream. This is a new outfit. Would you like to see some of them?
Oh, sure, yeah. If that's something that you're able to change here and now, by all means. Whoop, uh-oh. We lost your image. Went to the Discord screen. Cecilia, are you there? Uh-oh.
That's okay, that's intentional.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I suppose I'll wear my Phasmo outfit. Give me one moment.
No problem.
Give me one moment.
Please stand by. Cecilia's just getting some different flowers for us. Hey, there we are. Are those, lilies?
You know what? I don't know. I just searched up Ghost Flower and Phantom Flower, and I decided these were Phasmophobia flowers.
Oh, wait, is Phasmophobia a flower?
No, that's just the...
Oh no,
Phasmophobia
Phasmo
has-
a Phasmo is a flower. I think that's
Phasmo
what
flower.
I think that's what Lulele in the chat was saying. Maybe, I'm not sure. I don't know flowers.
Oh, so we were talking about Phasmophobia. Some people call it Phasmo for short.
Gotcha.
Anyway, a friend of mine searched up Ghost Flower and also Phantom Flower, and Phasmophobia has a lot of those. So I decided these were the flowers I will wear while playing the game.
Nice. I like that you have that just sort of customization of being able to wear a different flower depending on, be it your mood or whatever game you're playing on a given day.
Yeah.
I suppose my assignment for any artists in the chat is draw Cecilia wearing Agent 47's suit.
For Hitman in particular, I haven't gathered the flowers yet, but picking white roses and white lilies, because those are the flowers for a certain spoiler in Hitman Blood Money.
Ooh. I'll admit I have not actually played any of the Hitman games, so
yeah,
that
it's kind of a big spoiler.
Gotcha.
So.
But that's neat that there's also flowers in that game, and that it's obviously a point of importance.
Yeah.
That's just it really just does come a lot back to flowers. Would you say that you have a particular favorite type of flower, or for you is it just flowers in general?
I can't choose a favorite flower. They're all special. I love them all. It's really hard to choose. Though the flowers that I usually have, I guess the chrysanthemums, the roses, and the carnations, I really like those ones a lot.
So apart from Holo Fighters and Idol Showdown, do you have any upcoming projects or streams that you want to spotlight or make sure that people go look up, even if it's, a past one in your archive that you're like, if you're going to watch one of my things, you should definitely check this one out?
Definitely the Skyrim ones. The Skyrim ones are pretty fun. And I did a few collaboration streams. I did a Minecraft collaboration stream with Knight. We went Minecraft together, and we toured the Disneyland server on Minecraft, and it was great.
Ooh, that's
and
neat.
we went on some of the rides. It was really fun. Speaking of Phasmophobia, my last Phasmo stream was actually the first time I played the game. I played with Elaine, and that was a wonderful time as well.
Nice.
And of course, I'd very much like to be known for animation. I'll be making a lot of animation streams as soon as I finish unscuffing my background music. And yeah, I'm gonna do a lot more animation and modeling streams in the future, so be sure to watch for that.
Awesome.
Can we build my house?
Yeah, and I know you mentioned that you want to make some demo reels. Is there any place that people can go now to see some of your animation, or is that all still under lock and key for the time being?
Still under lock and key for the time being.
Alrighty, well, you're just going to have to follow her here on Twitch and on Twitter in order to see when she releases those demo reels.
Yeah! They'll be great, probably.
Do you have any particular dates coming up that you want to make sure people know about? That we're almost at the end of our time, but I want to make sure that people know where they can find you and where they can learn more about you.
Well, you can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. On twitch.tv/Cecilia Laruine, I think it was.
I sure hope so. That's what I put in the corner of the screen.
Yeah. I mostly stream on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. So those are the days I'm likely to stream. And I usually like to stream at 1 p.m. PST. So hop on in, see what I'm doing that day, and we can just hang out and have fun.
Awesome. And where can people go to follow updates for Holo Fighters and Idol Showdown?
Well, I put them in my Twitter under my bio. You could follow at Idol Showdown and at Fighter Holo.
Awesome. Yeah.
If you'd like to follow updates on that.
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what work you do next, Cecilia, and definitely Idol Showdown and Holo Fighters is something that's going to have my attention, because with the just overall VTuber fandom booming right now, I have very high hopes for you and the rest of the teams, and I'm sure you guys are going to be putting out something really special. I know game development takes a long time, and it always takes longer than you think it will. So even if you think it's going to be a long time, it's going to be longer than a long time. But I have full confidence that you guys are going to be able to get something out there, and that it's going to just be awesome. That it seems like such almost an obvious crossover that just the type of people that are in the VTuber fandom are, I feel like it's not inaccurate to say, of the nerdy disposition, and fighting games definitely have that overlap, I think. Lulay in the chat says the Idol Showdown team is cheering you on right now, Cecilia. They're watching you in the stream right now.
Yay! Hello.
Yeah, so that about does it, I think. Do you have anything else that you want to say, Cecilia? Anything that you want to give, I suppose, as your farewell and good night to your fans?
Well, I hope all my wonderful neighbors have a wonderful day or night wherever you are. And that's all.
Fantastic. Well, it's been just an awesome time tonight, Cecilia. Once again, thank you so much for being part of the show. It was great getting to know you and learning about your different projects. And like I said, I really look forward to seeing what else you do in the future. Thank you to everyone in the chat for being here. This is only our second episode, but we have a lot more VTubers to meet and a lot of experiences to have together. So please continue to support the show. And until next time, have a great night, everyone.
Have a wonderful night, neighbors.